Hello, this is Dr. Laura Murillo, President and CEO of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Today we're recognizing our Houston legend. You know her well. You've seen her out in the community representing us. She's heading up Baker Ripley. She's their CEO. Claudia Aguirre is joining us today. She has done so many important things in this city, and we're going to learn more about her. Please welcome the CEO of Baker Ripley, Claudia Aguirre. Thanks for being here.
Oh, Dr. Murillo, thank you so much. What an honor, not only to be here with you, but for the award. Thank you.
Well, you do so much, and it is a big operation. And I remember when you were working there, and you were being considered for the role, and it's been such a delight to get to see you develop and grow and just own this entity in a way that is making us proud. It's a tough job.
Yes, and I do it on behalf of the 1,400 people we have on our team, but mostly 500,000 people that we serve every year.
Yes.
That's who this is work for,
Yes.
so thank you.
So what do you think it is about your upbringing that has prepared you for this role? But more than prepared you for the role, is that you have such empathy for the people that you serve.
Yeah, so Laura, I always say my father turned his light off so that mine can shine. When he brought us here, he did it under one goal, was to have the American dream. And when we crossed over and we moved to El Paso, we had had a pretty good life up until then. We lost everything after the economy crashed in Mexico, and we needed to get help. We needed to ask help, and it was not done in a respectful way. It was the services, the help that we went after was not done in a respectful way. And I used to think about how hardworking my dad was, how hardworking my entire family and everyone. And I just knew that there would be a different way to help and support our struggling families. And so now this is what I do. I have a legacy of supporting people like me, like my family, and really just getting them up and winning their American dream.
Yes, and isn't it very interesting that as you reflect, especially during the last 3 or 4 disasters, that even the middle class is suffering, and you see the cars that they're driving, sometimes in some of your food distributions, that it's impacting sometimes the best of us.
Right. Any one of us, I think about Harvey and the NRG shelter that we opened, any one of us is one step away from a Harvey. And we saw that recently with COVID. Mm-hmm. We see that just folks that have been working really hard, and then all of a sudden something happens, and then it just sets them back. Times are tough right now. Times are really tough, and so many times we see people come to the centers balancing their budget. If they can come and get food, then they don't have to pay for food. They can come and get support. They don't have to do this with their money. So it is tough. It is tough. But at the same time, Dr. Murillo, I would want to say, we talk about this economic and socioeconomic of our families. We know that we don't have an unemployment problem here. It's an underemployment. So we've got folks like on the pipeline, and we're getting them stuck. They're stuck right there, and we need to keep pushing them up the pipeline. And the middle class is really seeing tough times that they hadn't seen before.
Mm-hmm. And so many services. I don't think people really understand the number of services and partnerships that Baker Ripley has.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know now what the number is. I think at one point it was 75 distinct interventions. But I think that's the whole point about this, is that none of us, if we think about our life, none of us need or desire one thing, right? We want our kids healthy, we want our kids in school, and so that's what it is working in our communities. We have to think about it holistically, right?
Yes.
We can't do it on the back of education, housing, basic needs. We got to do it all together.
Yes.
So that's our strategy, is that to be able to bring everything together to really support our families.
And in saying that, certainly certainly you work a lot with not only the people who need it the most, but also the people who can give and donate and participate the most with corporations. And Houston is a unique city. We have very philanthropic people, but your voice is an important one. Both you and I serve on the Federal Reserve Board. Those conversations critically important to our economy. So how have you navigated those waters?
You know, when I got to the Federal Reserve, I was excited because I thought, for one, you know, oh, we're going to bring the voice of our communities to this important table. How exciting. And after being there, as you know, it's really much more than that. It really is being able to navigate and to think about what you're leaving for this city. Yes. The decisions that are being made around those tables, the decisions that are being made with our partners. I think about like Verizon and Shell, the partnerships, those things that we're leaving the learning innovation centers behind. Those are the amazing things that will be there way after I'm gone, way after I leave, and they will already been making a very much difference in our communities.
So Claudia, one of the things that I enjoy asking people about is what they were like when they were children. So you strike me as a very curious little girl that was all over the house trying to do multiple things at once. Am I close?
Very close. So I'm the middle child. And so I think my parents said that I was always trying to get attention. The oldest one was the, you know, go-getter, get it done. The small one was the baby. And I was always needing attention. So, and it ranged. I was, you know, really, really bad one day and really, really good another day. But the curiosity that I had as a child, I think, really has led me to thinking about, you know, future and looking at our family. So it was an interesting dynamic at the house.
Yeah, and here you are, mother of two, almost adults, I guess, or one is, she's already graduated from college and is going to law school. And so you've been a single mom for a long time as well. And again, I think that experience has prepared you for many of the people, many of the women who come to Baker Ripley.
Right. You know, I've been real fortunate that a lot of my support came from mentors and, you know, family members. But it's been rough. I mean, trying to navigate, you know, as you know, trying to navigate professional life, motherhood, and family caretaker. It's been really a rough, you know, moment, but I'm so proud of them. I'm proud of both of them. I am proud of how this, you know, everyone just really rallies around me and really helps me out.
It is a big job. I mean, let's not make any mistake about it. You have a board of directors, you have community expectations, you have corporate partners, and it's intense.
I'm really privileged, though, Dr. Murillo. Let me just tell you that this is the epitome of being at a civic club one night to around the governor's table of the Federal Reserve, all in one day.
Yes.
And you have to be able to navigate it. And so you got to keep a little bit of humility. You got to keep a little bit of, you know, thick skin.
Yes.
It's sometimes rough. You know, it's not always easy walking into a room that people don't look like me that have walked in. And so, you know, the imposter syndrome hits sometimes, you know, oh, am I going to do this enough? Am I going to be this great for our communities? So it's rough, not just physically, it's a 24/7 job, but on your mind, on your heart, when you see the heartache of some families that you've tried to help and then, you know, the setback. But it's the biggest privilege of my life. It is the biggest privilege.
Well, and that's why we wanted to recognize you as one of our Houston legends. You are making a tremendous difference. And as women, we often are in charge of so much more than just our careers. So much falls on us as women, and we count on that support system. So I'm so proud of you, Claudia.
Thank you.
And I've just enjoyed seeing your upward trajectory and seeing you, as you mentioned, you know, with the people and in very important places where many of us a privilege to be at, and it's a heavy responsibility, but you do it so graciously. I'd like to end with you telling us something that you hope your children will think of you as and your legacy. What would you like your children to believe is your legacy to them?
You know, I told you about like my father turning his light off so we could shine. I'd like my legacy. I'd like my children to be able to say, my mom had her light on and turned ours on too.
Nice.
And then that our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren, that they will think of me as that lever that was switched for their generation.
Absolutely. Well, that's a beautiful answer. Thank you so much, and we want to thank you for joining us here on KHOU 11 and our Odyssey stations. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce is the leading advocate for the Hispanic business community. In Houston, we represent over $54 billion per year in consumer spending. Our thanks to our board and staff for making sure we elevate business and advocate for a stronger economy. Hello, I'm Dr. Laura Murillo, President and CEO of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Our next guest has done so much for Harris County. He's been a great partner to our chamber and continues to work with us, our members, our businesses, and is doing a lot of great work to make sure Harris County continues to thrive. Our guest is Commissioner Tom Ramsey. Welcome. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Dr. Moreau. It's great to be here.
Absolutely. And you know, you've been on our program before, but I'm glad that we have this face-to-face opportunity. Harris County growing every day. Your precinct continues to thrive. Talk to us. What are some of the highlights?
Well, it is a great time to be in Harris County. There's been a lot of conversation about some areas growing and some areas not. But there's businesses moving to Harris County every day. A lot of my precinct is unincorporated, which means there's not necessarily the services that you would be used to in an incorporated part.
Yes.
And a lot of people may not necessarily understand that the city of Houston comprises roughly half the county in population. Well, the other half of the county lives in unincorporated Harris County,
Yes.
much of which is in Precinct 3.
Well, and often, especially media, focus a lot on City Hall and the city of Houston. And Harris County had, I think, for a long time kind of been under the radar, if you will, and now certainly a lot of just awareness of how large Harris County is, the budgets that you all individually and collectively are responsible for, infrastructure projects, and so much more. So I think people are becoming more aware of it. You're seeing it a lot more, and it's so important that Harris County continues to do well at all levels.
That's right. And
Yeah.
businesses look at services
Yes.
because at the end of the day, they're not terribly interested in what's going on in Washington or Austin. They really need to know how their roads are going to be fixed, or how their drainage is going to be addressed, or how an issue in a park, for example, we have 72 parks in Precinct 3. So it's really what I call the basics
Yes.
of operating a business and raising a family.
Speaking of parks, so I know, especially in your area, some phenomenal parks. It's wonderful to be out there every now and then and see these parks just full with people playing soccer, having picnics, exercising, and you've paid a lot of attention to services as well in those areas.
Yeah, we do. We mow every park every day. Again, that's 72 parks. Mow it every week, and then we actually clean the restrooms and do all those things every day. But the other thing is they're safe. When you want to go do something with your children after work, after school, and you need a safe place to go, we really consider those as refuges for people to go and have a quiet time and do things. That's a real important part, I think, of what we as a county should be doing.
Very important work. And speaking of which, unfortunately, we've experienced so many natural disasters. And unfortunately, we live in a zone where that's likely to happen again. What's your take on infrastructure? You voted against the tax increase recently, but from your perspective, what else can Harris County do to make sure that we're ready for that next storm?
Well, I think the precincts, there's 4 precincts in Harris County. I think from the precinct level, commissioner level, we are prepared to respond. So in many ways, we have 4 specific entities that has to have debris pickup. They have to have the ability to rescue people, could be in boats or otherwise. Just in Precinct 3, we've had 3 disasters this year. We had the major, what I call the May Day flood, 30 inches of water comes in, 30 inches of rain comes into North Harris County. Then we had the derecho, and then we had Beryl. Dr. Murillo, we picked up over 1 billion cubic yards of debris because of all those disasters over a 2-month period. Well, that's in addition to repairing roads and doing drainage improvements and other things. But the county staff in all 4 precincts working into, I borrowed trucks from this precinct and they borrowed from me. We figured out how to get it done. And I think that's how county government should be operating.
Yes.
You shouldn't be sitting here saying, well, I'm sorry, I can't get to you. No, we need to figure out how to get it.
More holistic approach to running the county. And so from your perspective, do you see more interaction, more collaboration with your colleagues?
Absolutely. There is I can give you 20 examples of issues that we've identified that we need to take more of a proactive position with. It could be flood related. It could be roadway related. At 2 commissioner courts ago, I requested for a even distribution of hectare funds to each one of the precincts that would allow us to take care of our roads in a more planned way.
Yes.
I got great support from the entire Commissioners Court. So when people say, well, is the county really functioning that way? We really do function well together. I think a lot of what you read in the paper that maybe there's some issues here and there. In terms of the commissioners, we're working well together.
So for you, what are some of your top priorities between now and let's say the next year?
Well, infrastructure, public safety, and when I say lower taxes, what I mean by that, and I'll start there, is wasteful spending. I think what Mayor Whitmire is doing in evaluating everything in the city, I really think that's what I would like to do in the context of Precinct 3, where 1.2 million people. I want to make sure that every dollar that the county is spending is actually doing things that matter to people. So on the wasteful spending side, on the tax dollar side, our budget this year in general tax rates is $2.6 billion. That's a lot of money. And let's be sure that we're just not doing the same things we did last year. Are there ways to improve it, to free up money so we can invest in those things in those areas that we need to? But public safety and infrastructure are really what people talk to me the most about in terms of what we can do to improve.
And certainly looking at the private sector to pick up some of these needs, if you will. I think that is the way of the future. Cities, counties, there just isn't enough money to take care of some of the very pressing issues. Some of them, quite frankly, educational, perhaps even social needs that are definitely out there that maybe are not the best use, perhaps, of taxpayer money. Infrastructure, of course, that's core. Those are some core defined areas of interest.
We have over 31 nonprofits in Precinct 3. They do incredible work.
Yes.
My job is to help them, whether it's food related or whether it's a place to stay overnight, those sorts of things. We have great nonprofits. There's many things that the nonprofits do that they need to focus on and the county does not need to. We probably need to focus more, in my opinion, on infrastructure, on drainage. When I talk to small businesses, again, they ask me, I know there is a tire shop or two that located near my office in the Spring Branch area, and they just need to know that there's going to be patrols near their businesses. They need to know that they're not going to be flooded. They need to know that there is some predictability, because if we support businesses in that manner, they're going to thrive.
Yes.
But when they have to worry about being broken into, or they have to worry about whether their business is going to be flooded the next time it rains 20 inches, then that's not sustainable. So building a more sustainable infrastructure and more sustainable neighborhoods, that I think is going to help businesses more than anything.
And your experience and education as an engineer certainly has come in handy, hasn't it?
Really has. You do these things. I've worked with 50 cities in 20 counties in Texas. I probably have had enough experiences. I know what not to do in terms of dealing with issues, but certainly when I have folks in a particular neighborhood come to me and say, can you improve our drainage? And specifically, we may not be able to get you 100-year flood protection, which is kind of the standard. We may not be able to do everything, but we can do something. And the something part is what I think people makes it. I talked to 2 constituents today. There was a concern about traffic in their areas. And I simply said, we'll look at maybe some flashing lights, some signals, some other things. Too often, I think, when a constituent takes the time to call you and ask you for something, you should respond. We've got over 2,000 requests in now to do service requests within the precinct. Every one of those have been called back. They've been told when we're going to get to it. It may be next week and it may be in 2 months, but at least the constituent is sitting there and saying, okay, my government is trying to address an issue that I brought up.
All of these things so important. I want to make sure we give you the opportunity to share with us anything else that you'd like to talk about before we wrap up.
Flood control is important.
Yes.
And I know that we're having discussions now, well, maybe we do increase the tax rate related to flood control, the Harris County flood control tax rate.
Yes.
Well, Commissioner Garcia and I looked at that, his bringing experience from the city of Houston, being sheriff and other things, me coming from 40 years of engineering, and we really found that yes, we've got over 2,500 miles of channel in Harris County that is not being maintained. Those are the kinds of issues when I talk to neighborhoods, can you at least tend to the channel, clean it out?
Yes.
There's silt and they hadn't been mowed in 2 years, those sorts of things. So creating a robust maintenance program within flood control is something that's very important.
So very important. We've enjoyed working with you, your team, the judge, commissioners, and others, because the relationship that we have with you all is so very important. We need Harris County and our businesses to thrive and grow, and you and your team have been a significant part of that. We really appreciate your ongoing investment and time in the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you, Dr. Murillo, for all that you do.
Thank you so much. We'll see you guys next time. Goodbye. The Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce is the leading advocate for the Hispanic business community. In Houston, we represent over $54 billion per year in consumer spending. Our thanks to our board and staff for making sure we elevate business and advocate for a stronger economy. Hello, I'm Dr. Laura Murillo, President and CEO of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I am thrilled to have one of our corporate partners, Crowe, joining us here today. We have been involved with each other for many, many years, 15 years plus. They've been a great partner, and we are so happy to have Sheila Enriquez join us. She has a new title. She's going to tell you all about it and what she does at Crowe. Thank you, Sheila.
Hi, Dr. Murillo. Thank you so much for having me today. It's such a pleasure.
Thank you very much. And so first, let's start with, what does Crowe do? Who is Crowe? A lot of people may be familiar with the previous name of Briggs & Veselka. Tell us about Crowe a little bit more, please.
Yes, I'm very delighted to introduce you to Crowe. So we are a public accounting, consulting, and technology firm, and we distinguish ourselves not only by our size and capabilities, but also by our purpose and values. We were founded in 1942, and Crowe has grown to become one of the largest accounting firms in the U.S., serving clients worldwide with our deep industry expertise and innovative approach. Our network actually spans more than 130 countries through our Crowe Global Network. And so we are truly a global firm, but we maintain a strong commitment to our local communities as well. Our purpose is clear. So we are here to shape your better tomorrow together today. And that is realized through a wide range of our services, which include audit, tax, advisory, risk, and performance services. So whether we're helping a business navigate complex regulatory environments, optimize their operations, or strategize for growth, we are there with you every step of the way, creating value that endures.
You got a presence and a footprint in Houston, but also throughout Texas.
Absolutely. And you know what people don't know in Texas is that Crowe has actually already been in Texas for the past 15 years in Dallas. But as you noted earlier, the Briggs and Veselka team joined Crowe in 2022, and 3 years in the making here, that really expanded Crowe's footprint to now include the Houston area, which is our largest office. We also have an office in the Woodlands and, of course, Austin, Texas. So we are in every major city and very excited about Texas and our commitment to this great state.
Well, and then the big word on the street is artificial intelligence, isn't it?
That is exactly right. Everybody's thinking about it, wondering how to adopt it. And I think for companies, it's top of mind for sure.
So what does that mean for Crowe and its clients?
So it's been interesting to me to watch the evolution of AI. And when we talk about AI has been in place for decades, right? But the one area that you're hearing a lot these days, probably in the past year, is generative AI. And what that is the large language models like ChatGPT. And for some reason, all of a sudden, right, it's become the term, it's become much more evident in the things that we do in our everyday lives. And so for Crowe, AI is really a topic of immense interest, with organizations eager to expand their understanding, harness its potential. So we recognize this demand. So we actually are really focused in and utilize our own AI platform we currently have in our firm, Crowe Mind. It is being actively used across all our business functions to accelerate multiple tasks, freeing up more time for innovative thinking, complex problem solving. And so it is a game changer, and it is starting to revolutionize industries across the globe. We actually started our own AI studio for that reason. We're expanding it, and it is designed to foster the development of AI-powered solutions for our clients, while also advancing internal adoption of AI in our business operations. When it comes to our client offerings, we are enabling our clients to really provide more value-added services. And one of the big things, Dr. Murillo, that I don't think companies are even really as aware of is that you really have to be careful when implementing AI. You know, we provide guidance on AI strategy, implementation, governance. There's some ethical considerations that people should be thinking about when implementing AI. So as we help clients harness the power of AI, we also help them manage the associated risks. One thing at Crowe that we're very mindful of in addition to AI, though, is making sure that it's remaining human-centered, because you hear a lot of people talk about AI and replacing jobs. And at Crowe, we recognize that we cannot lose sight that we have to be human-centered in everything that we do. We will be AI-enabled for sure, AI-powered, but we are all about people at the end of the day. And so, you know, we combine AI with human-centered design, and doing that allows us to create solutions that are not only smart, but user-friendly, intuitive, and definitely aligned with the expectations of our clients. So very, very exciting area, you know, that is just continuing to evolve very quickly.
Very well. Sheila, our thanks to you and the entire Crowe team. I know we had someone from your staff join us at our Business Institute, and throughout the year, you all have been very engaged with us, and we really appreciate the 15-year plus relationship we've had with Crowe. Thank you.
Likewise. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
We'll see you soon.